If you pride yourself on being easy to work with, if you're always trying to make it work for every client you have, and if you've told yourself, I just want to be fair. I want my prices to be fair. I want my services to be fair. I want to be a fair business. This episode honestly might sting a little. However, if you're trying hard to figure out what to do next in your business, what the problem is, and why there seems to be a little bit of growth hesitation in your wedding business, this episode is for you. Welcome to Grow My Wedding Business, where we speak with industry experts, teach you how to grow your wedding business, and give you the tools you need to take it to the top. I hope you're ready to grow because this is your season. Welcome to Grow My Wedding Business. This is the show where officiants, planners, photographers, DJs, creatives, wedding professionals of all types come and get great advice and hear valuable interviews that could actually change their business right now. Let's get started. Last episode, we talked about total clarity in your business. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to that episode before you listen to this episode. But we talked about clarity in your business, and I spoke about when I first started. I believe that as we go along as business owners, it is so important to reflect back on when we started, our journey along the way, and look at areas of growth and areas of weakness and hardship to try to learn from those areas, to try to figure out lessons and apply that to the future growth of our business. And that's what today's episode is coming out of. It is a lesson out of my years of experience that I want to teach you something that took me a long time to figure out. But figuring out these lessons, it's a part of growing our business. And we have to be humble and we have to be willing to say, ooh, that was a horrible mistake, or ooh, that's a decision I shouldn't have made. Now let's reverse that decision and do something else. So in the last episode, I talked about, I remember when in my business in the early years, I thought I was being responsible. I thought I was being reasonable, and I haven't used that word yet, but a lot of people that are in business now use the word reasonable. I'm just trying to be reasonable with my customers. I kept my prices low because I'm trying to be reasonable. I'm saying yes to things that I normally wouldn't say yes to or that I don't want to say yes to. I want to give it a no, but I'm saying yes because I want to be reasonable. I'm customizing all the details because I want to be reasonable. This is a really bad situation to get into. It's a really bad habit, and it will become a habit the more we do it. But back in the day, I made sure to my customers, to my clients, I never felt difficult. I didn't want anything to be difficult for them. I wanted to do it all for them, and it was all coming out of a good place. But against the advice of my wife, who was my business partner at the time, I gave people way more than what they paid for. I wanted them to experience this 5-star experience even when they didn't pay for a 5-star experience. And I was totally and utterly exhausted at the end of this season of trying to make sure everybody had a 5-star experience. I was underpaid. I was tired all the time. I was happy when I was in front of customers, and as soon as I was not in front of customers, I was like, oh, that went good, blah, 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 blah. And I was just quietly frustrated. I would unload, unfortunately, on my wife, not towards her, but about the things that I was experiencing, the things that I was making myself experience. What I thought was responsible was one word that I want to talk about for just a minute, and that word is fear. It was actually fear of a lot of things. I remember having an argument with my wife about an elopement package, okay? We offered all kinds of different packages on the beach with chairs and photography and decor and officiant and video and anything they wanted. So I had my smallest package was an elopement package. And we were arguing because someone who had already signed a contract for their package, so we knew it was an elopement package, and they had already paid their deposit, their retainer. I went all out. And when I mean I went all out, you're going to think I was crazy. Or you might be like, oh, I want to do that. Don't do it. I bought them champagne. I gave them way more photos than they paid for. I tried to make it absolutely incredible for them. I treated them like they were a 5-star client. And I thought, these people are going to love it so much, they're going to become a 5-star client. They're going to do all these things that are going to help my business. Well, that couple ended up paying us their retainer and then $250. And for that amount, they got an officiant, they got photography, they got the video, they got the champagne, they got all of this stuff. They didn't leave a tip. And after me asking several times, they didn't even leave me a review online, which was the least, in my opinion, that they could do. I, as the business owner, as the one in charge, I was missing a key piece of this whole thing. I thought that offering 5-star service was going to be something so wonderful I could just do it to anybody. But offering 5-star service, while it is great, it sounds great, you have to offer it to 5-star clients. Your clients have got to match up with the service that they're wanting. You have to qualify those clients. Not all clients are 5-star clients. Not all clients want 5-star service. You have to have 5-star marketing. You have to be able to identify 5-star clients. You have to be able to attract 5-star customers. And if you don't know how to do that, don't offer 5-star service. I didn't understand that these people shouldn't give a tip. They shouldn't pay for 5-star service. They weren't a premium client. They wanted something cheap. They were looking for something cheap. They didn't want extravagant. They didn't want expensive. They were not my client in my mind. They weren't the client that I dreamed of. I was trying to make them that client. They weren't the client that I ultimately wanted, but I didn't understand it. I told them that, well, I probably came off a little angry actually at the end because I was so stupid to try to think I could create this 5-star experience and I could grow my business into a 5-star experience by treating customers who didn't want 5-star experience with 5-star experience. That's craziness. And I thought that these people, any customer, any client that I got was the client that I wanted because they were paying me money. And that is not true. My process, my pricing, all of it at the time told them that they were my vendor. I'm the one that priced this thing low. I didn't price it like 5-star. I didn't have everything laid out like 5-star. I was trying to attract anybody, so I kept my prices low, and I got what I attracted. They were not wrong. The customer was right. I was in the wrong. So all that to say this, playing it safe, staying mid-level, offering discount pricing or mid-level pricing, just playing it safe. That's what I'll say. Playing it safe in your wedding business feels wise. It feels responsible. I'm just starting out. I want to attract any client. I got to get the money in my hands. But honestly, it is the riskiest thing that you can be doing. It could be the very reason that you can't even see the next level right now. You're like, man, I know I can grow. I know I'm good enough. I know, but I just can't see that next level. This could be the reason. So listen to this episode. We're going to dive in a little deep into some of the reasons that this might be happening in your business. So first of all, talked about pricing. Let's talk about underpricing as a form of the word I said before, fear. Underpricing does not obviously come from strategy. I hope it doesn't come from your strategy. I'm going to underprice myself and devalue myself. I know I'm worth more, but I'm going to put it at this price. It's not strategy. Please don't let it be strategy. It usually comes from somewhere deeper down, and that is fear. It comes from all types of fears. It comes from fear of not booking, fear of losing clients, fear of losing inquiries, fear of not being good enough, fear of market rejection, fear of people going to my website, seeing the price, and just immediately leaving. When in all actuality, that's a good one. If they come to your site, see a price, and leave, good. That is not your client. But we're afraid of customers seeing us and not choosing us when we shouldn't. That is a good thing. If a customer sees you and they're not your customer and they don't choose you, that's a good thing. That's why the foundation must be set up in the beginning to actually prevent the wrong people from becoming your customer and prevent the right customer from leaving because your prices are too low. We are afraid of price shoppers. We've all had price shoppers. We've experienced people that come and they look at our prices, they talk to us, and then they leave. We're afraid of people that ghost us while we're speaking about that. Maybe a lot of you have had people ghost you. I've had people ghost me, and I'm like, what happened? They weren't my customer. Or I was already doing something wrong, and I attracted them, and they weren't my customer. And there were a lot of mismatched things in my business. I didn't build the foundation properly. Why should we be afraid of cheap customers, people who don't want our services, super high quality services, and they don't want to pay for them? Why should we be afraid of those people not choosing us? We shouldn't. When this is the fear, we have a lack of confidence and a lack of customers, and that has got to be fixed. And when I say a lack of customers, I'm talking about the customers that you dream of, the customers that you want, the customers that will make you grow, the customers that will make your business profitable. So I remember when I raised my price for the first time. I raised my prices, and I remember feeling physically like sick in my stomach, uncomfortable, because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I think I'm going to get rid of all the people that are going to make me any money, and I'm going to lose my business. Like I was some kind of thief, like I was stealing from the people. I remember raising my price to a premium amount, and it was more than most of the wedding businesses in my area. And I was so nervous. But then I realized that there were more people looking for someone that was priced with my premium price, looking for premium services, top quality services, 5-star service. There were more people looking for that price point and that service that would be easier for me to work with than the customers that I was used to getting, trying to make them into a different type of customer. What I was actually doing when I finally changed my price was I was aligning my value that I had in my mind with the customers I dreamed of, the customers that I wanted. Once I figured out what my value truly was, and people they actually wanted that level of value, and they were willing to pay for it. It was a wall that took me so long to get over. Once I understood the fundamentals of this whole thing, it worked itself out, and it was great. So in the Wedding Pro playbook that I talk about, I speak about pricing. In fact, I talk about how pricing is a positioning decision. That decision will position your business either as a low-quality business, a mid-level business, or a high-level business. It's not just a numbers decision. You decide at that moment when you're pricing who I want to attract. And I have a method in the book called the prices method. And that method will actually help you learn exactly how to price correctly. It is actually science here. It's not a guessing game. And the prices method, I won't go over that, but is perceived value, research the market, invested time, calculate costs, earnings, and set prices structure. Set your pricing structure. So prices, Prices. It's those things. And it's not a guessing game. It doesn't have to be a guessing game. If you're playing that guessing game, please stop guessing and price them correctly. And we teach you how to do that. There are only 3 ways in our market or in the business market to compete when you have a business, and that is price, it is speed, it is value. So your pricing, low or high, mid-level, the speed of your service, how fast are you, the quality that you maintain while you're doing that speed, and then the value of your service. How incredible is that service once it's complete? What is the value in the customer's mind? So price, speed, and value. And you may have heard this old saying. There's an old saying that says, if it's fast and cheap, it won't be good. If it's cheap and good, it won't be fast. And if it's fast and good, it won't be cheap. Think about that. If you need to rewind it, and listen to that again. It's so true. If you want to compete on price long enough, actually, if you compete on price long enough, what happens? I'm talking about competing, trying to figure out where am I valuable? Oh, let me price it a little lower. You're constantly thinking about pricing instead of using the prices method and actually pricing where you're going to be profitable, where you're going to be able to afford to offer these incredible services and not rush through things. If you compete on pricing long enough, you attract price-sensitive clients, you overwork yourself, you resent the business, you burn out pretty quickly, and ultimately you lose in the wedding industry. You lose in business. Underpricing feels safe until you realize you built a business that you cannot sustain because you can't afford to sustain it. You can't afford to offer those services as good as you want to offer them. All right, that's the last thing I'm going to say about pricing, I think, on this episode. But I wanted to cover all of that because it's a mentality and it's thinking, and you've got to fix that thinking. You've got to understand how to build the foundation first, how to set the prices correctly. Next, over customizing for every client. This is something else that I was doing in the beginning of my business. This is something else I did to play it safe. Customizing everything that they're experiencing in my business. Sounds like service excellence, 5-star service. I used to say that all the time. I hate that now. 5-star service. I offered 5-star service to every customer and client. But sometimes it is insecurity, and it wasn't my case, dressed up as generosity. Let me explain. When you customize everything for every customer or every customer's experience in your business, you are effectively removing any systems, even accidental. I've talked about accidental systems you've set up, things that you repeat over and over. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But you remove any systems in your business because you're trying to do things different every time. You increase decision fatigue. First of all, you increase decision fatigue for every client that comes and looks at your business because there is nothing set in stone. You also increase, this is not necessarily what I'm talking about right now, but you increase decision fatigue for vendors and venues to refer you because you don't do the same thing every time. Every time they see you, you do something differently. You also reduce predictability. So it's not predictable what kind of service you're going to come off with. It's not predictable what things that the client is going to get this time. This client might pick this package, and then this client might pick this package, and they have 2 completely different experiences. Really bad for business. And then another thing is you just simply exhaust yourself. You don't want to be exhausted in your business. I worked with a wedding professional who every time, it seems like every time through every process, they completely rewrote what they did. I'm not talking about physically rewrote it, but they just did things differently every time for every single couple that chose them. And they based it on the couple's needs, which sounds really sweet. It sounds great. I'm going to base it on the couple's needs. I'm going to cater. You heard that. I'm going to cater to this couple. I'm not talking about a caterer. I'm talking about catering to the couple's needs. They thought They were being attentive to this couple, catering to their needs, and they were actually rebuilding their business 30, 40 times a year. That's what they were doing, and nobody wants to do that. So let me talk about, in our school community, we have a lesson. It's called Success Foundations. It's the very beginning. If you join this free school community, you go into the Success Foundations. And even if you've been in business a while, it's good to walk through because it opens up a picture fully of what your business is and maybe what it needs and the basic foundation that you have to build. That's why it's called Success Foundations. And in that lesson, in lesson 3 of Success Foundations, that lesson's called Operating versus Ownership. It says this: operating keeps you busy. Ownership builds systems. Seems pretty simple. When you customize everything, when you think you have to change for the couple and cater to the couple, you are operating. You have an operator mind. Ooh, how do I solve this right now? How do I fix this right now? How do I make sure the couple's going to be happy right now? But when you standardize what works, when you do your business for just a short period of time, see what works, and start writing down, this system needs to happen. I repeat that. This system needs to happen because I can delegate that, even if it's to a CRM or to an email automation system or something. When you start to standardize everything, what is working, you are an owner. You're truly owning your business and you're building your business. You're not operating. And then later on in that lesson, there is a reflection question. It's lesson 3, and I say, do you react more than you plan? If you're constantly adjusting to every single client instead of guiding them through a preset system, a proven system that works over and over, a proven process, I should say, that is not flexibility. That's a lack of structure. And a business that lacks structure cannot grow. It cannot scale. It can't even get to the next level. Now, another thing that I was doing early on, and I think I've mentioned this before, is I was saying yes to everything. Yes. Will you do that? Yes. Do you want to do that? No, but I'll do it. Saying yes felt like an opportunity. I wanted to serve people. It felt like an opportunity to serve them better, but it was that word, fear. It was a fear of loss, fear of losing an opportunity, fear of losing a client, fear of losing my business. It was fear of loss. I would say yes to out of scope requests, things I didn't want to do. I would say yes to last minute changes. Oh, people do this all the time. I see it in groups. They wanted to change this. Okay. They wanted to change this. Okay. Hey, can you send me that document? I want to change something. Okay. No system. I would change my budget. I would compromise my pricing and I would have to redo, I can't afford this now. I have to do this. I would change my budget, my business budget. I just scheduled chaos in my business. That's what I was doing by changing things. And I did it because I didn't want to disappoint. I was playing it safe. I didn't want to lose revenue, even though that's what I was creating. I was making myself lose revenue. I was playing it safe. I had a little bit of fear of growth. Playing it safe, that's what I was doing. I had fear of growing, and I don't know why. I didn't want to deal with any conflict. But if you have business, light bulb moment here, you will deal with conflict. Get ready, get a backbone, learn how to deal with it. There will be conflict if you have customers. If you are dealing with the public, there will be conflict. Think about this. Every time you say yes to something that's misaligned, you say no to the business that you are dreaming of. You say no to the business you actually want. I've told you about that book, Guide to Building Wedding Business Relationships, that I wrote a while back. It's not the big book. It's just a little document, but I was giving it away for free. And now that lives in the free school community. It's called the Relationship Advantage, and it's a lesson. And we talk about vendors referring people, and there's a word here they have to have, and it's trust. They only refer people that they trust. Now, who do vendors trust? Well, they trust vendors who are clear, who are confident, and here's a big one, who are consistent. Processes, systems, we talk about a lot. Consistency. There's got to be that consistency. So I say that to say this. When you're playing it safe and you're bending and you're misaligning things in your business, bending doesn't just hurt your customers. Your business, it hurts your business. It hurts the relationships with other vendors, other venues, potential growth partners, strategic growth partnerships we talk about. It hurts your business. If you constantly bend, you look inconsistent, you look uncertain, and you become the hardest vendor to refer. And let that sink in. You become the hardest vendor to refer. And I'm saying if you do anything in your business different every single time or inconsistently, you are hurting your business. You're becoming hard to refer. Boundaries build your reputation. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about is why do boundaries equal growth? Okay, growth is not about doing more. Growth is about defining more, defining things in your business, building a strong foundation that's not wavy and changeable. It's about designing your business with practices, with procedures, with rules and systems. Not rules to be mean, but rules for yourself. Rules and boundaries, rules for your customers. That's what a contract is. And it's good. It's good to have that. What do boundaries actually do? Well, number one, boundaries protect energy. It reduces you from working your butt off in something that's not a system differently every single time and burning out. Number two, boundaries protect your pricing. You can grow your pricing every year by increasing it, and that is a system. And other than that, your prices do not change. You reduce any negotiation, any guilt from having to change for someone who says, that's too much. Well, I'm so sorry. That's what I charge. Boundaries protect the brand that you are trying to build. You become memorable. You become premium. You become desired in the wedding industry, in your community, wherever your service area is, you become desired. And the more boundaries you have, the more systems you have, the more easy you are to understand and know exactly what you're going to do every single time. Your process, your services, your value, the more desired you become. Okay, here's a little exercise. We're getting to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening hard. I hope this is helping you. I hope it's sinking in. Here's a little exercise. We did an exercise last time. Last time I asked you to write down something that you do that you repeat over and over. And the reason I did that is because I want you to start to learn to identify things. Even as you grow, you'll start to wear more hats, then you'll delegate, then you'll start to wear more hats again, then you'll delegate, then you'll start to wear more hats. It's just the growth process. So I want you to start right now and learn how to identify things that you repeat that start to create duress or stress or anxiety or just more of a workload, and you can learn to delegate those things. That's part of growing. So I wanted you to start identifying that. In this lesson, I want you to write down 3 things in your business that drain you. Think of the things that make you more tired talking to people. I don't know what they might be, but things that make you tired. It's going to be different for everybody. And then I want you to think, are these actually required? Or are they things that could get off my plate? Are they things that I've never created a boundary for? A lot of these things might be things you can say no to. If not, you can offload them. You can delegate them. What are the things that stress you out? The things that drain you. And are they actually required? Or have you never created a boundary for them? Start looking at all the things you do and mark all that are happening because there's no boundary in place. Create boundaries. In the playbook, I talk about building systems. You hear me say systems so much, you're probably like, Chad, shut up about systems. I know. And repeatable processes. And I explain that growth requires designing a repeatable experience for everyone, everybody who experiences your business. Not a reinvented experience, not something different every time, a designed experience, not a copied experience. You design the experience. If you need help designing it, that's fine, but it needs to come from you because you are the foundation of your business. Your creativity, your ideas, your thoughts, your dreams, that needs to be your business. Consistency builds confidence in you and in your clients and in people that refer your business. Playing it safe is often playing it small. Playing it safe will keep you small. And playing small eventually becomes playing tired, playing exhausted, playing burnt out. The wedding professionals who get it and start building the foundation properly, or stop right now and go back and redo the foundation, then they want to grow. Wedding professionals that want to grow and are growing are not reckless. They are defined. They're defining things when they build that foundation. So hear me when I say this. Boundaries don't magically appear, okay? They're built, like we talked about on the last episode, through clarity. They're built through understanding, and they're built through hard work. That is why structure matters, because structure forces decisions. It is a good thing. And the last thing I want to talk about is inside our Grow My Wedding Business community on the school platform. It's starting to grow, and I'm so thankful for that. We are actually, we're trying to create a place where we walk through these growth shifts in your business, this foundation building process. And I want to walk through them step by step. We're still adding things. And, doing this alone is really hard. Having a community makes it so much better. So we actually have our first live event, Wedding Business Reset, and that is planned already. So if you're listening to this podcast episode and it just aired, I invite you to that event. I invite you to our school. You can go there. It's SKOOL. So it's school, not spelled the traditional way. It's SKOOL.com/GMWB. And that stands for Grow My Wedding Business. So SKOOL.com/GMWB. I hope you'll keep all of these things in your mind. I hope you'll join the community. But remember that underpricing, it is not you. It is usually caused by fear. Over-customizing kills the scalability. It kills the growth of your business. Saying yes to everything creates chaos, and boundaries are not harsh. They are strategic. They are good. They are necessary. So if you feel stretched, if you feel drained, if you feel overextended, if you're quietly resentful and you're starting to resent your business, it's not that you need more marketing. It's probably that you need more boundaries and you need to reset, go back, start to build the foundation. Thanks so much for joining me today. This is Grow My Wedding Business. My name's Chad Muncie. Have a great day. If today's episode hit home and you're ready to go even deeper, I've built 2 resources just for you. First, my book, Wedding Pro Playbook, is the complete breakdown of all the marketing, positioning, pricing, and growth strategies that serious wedding pros use to build real, sustainable businesses. You can grab the Wedding Pro Playbook at growmyweddingbusiness.com/playbook. Second, I've created a brand new free Grow My Wedding Business community on the school platform. And this is where wedding pros connect, get clarity, and start implementing all of this stuff step by step. You can join all of us at school, that's SKOOL.com/GMWB. That's SKOOL.com/GMWB. If you're serious about growing smarter and not just busier, I can't wait to see you inside.